always a pleasure to see you talk about your films. I couldn't discuss that with Matthew at all, but the fashion is so great. I mean, she kind of embodies that whole, fashion of the late 80s, early 90s. Tell us a little bit how you worked on that with your character.
So that was kind of how Kay looked was hugely important. And Danny Glicker, the costume designer, I had worked with him in the past, and he's truly a genius. And so it was in those costume fittings where we kind of figured her out and found, because there were a few different Kays kind of in our mind, and then we kind of slowly kind of found her, and then I would look in front of the mirror and I'd be like, okay, who is that lady? Like, who's that person? It's certainly not me.
It's Diana Ross.
Yeah, exactly. And it brought so much fun to Kay and sensuality and a kind of effervescence, and I think that otherwise there might have been a sort of heaviness to her. And one of the first lines that what really came out to me when I read this script, one of the first things that really kind of struck me was there was a line that described her where it said that her she was wearing jeans that were too tight, but only because she was happy. Yeah. And I remember reading that and being like, like I know that girl, and to want to be that. So we also made a point of making all the clothes a little bit too small.
Well, she's at the same time candid, but also a little bit mature and ahead of her time and understanding of what's going on. I think she's quite a wonderful person, isn't she? And is it important for you to like your character?
Well, I think I don't really think of things in terms of like liking or disliking, but I think there needs to be an understanding. Like if I go in and I'm feeling sort of like anchorless and rudderless, and I can get a little bit lost. Whereas if I feel like I have an understanding of this person's emotional logic, then I can become that individual and go in any direction. Because there was a lot of improvisation in this, which was so fun, because you never really knew where a scene was going to go. And Matthew's incredible, and so it was, yeah. I mean, it was just this really fun, alive experience that we had.
Absolutely. Talking about the fun and live, we are at the Waldorf where you shot like a key scene of the film. So how was it like shooting in such a mythical like New York hotel?
Well, I mean, it was really. I had no idea that we were going to actually shoot in the Waldorf Astoria, and then we did, and I spent the entire time just terrified that like someone was going to bump into something that's maybe a little bit historical, and it was going to cost more than the movie to replace it. And probably because I was worried about that, it did sort of come to fruition, which is that when we were shooting the scene, that was the fight scene, Matthew had his drink, and I like exited into the bathroom, and he threw it at the door, and the glass went through the door. Yeah. And I mean, that's something, that doesn't, those kinds of things don't happen all the time when you're shooting a scene. Normally it's a little predictable. Yeah. But nothing was predictable with Matthew. And so there's a new door currently in the Waldorf Astoria, thanks to Matthew McConaughey.
Well, good. He left his imprint on all of this. Coincidentally, before I watched Gold, I was watching the episode of Black Mirror that you were in, which was like so brilliant and freaky at the same time. How is your relation to social media?
Oh my goodness. I mean, you would think that being a part of that episode of Black Mirror that is about social media, basically, that I would have some perception. And I mean, it's like I had joined social media only 2 weeks before I got the outline to this episode. And so I did, I don't know, I guess I tried to lessen the pressure on myself a little bit because of it, but it's so hard. It just, like, even coming up with the tagline of like who I am or whatever, I'm just like, I don't, who am I? I don't know. What do I say? Like, which version of me? And I think we're all kind of in this space of trying to figure out what our relationship to social media is and to try to keep it healthy, because it's really unhealthy right now.